Hello everyone, my name is Shini Zhao. That is Shini Zhao, and we're going to talk about haunted houses today. I've been working in haunted houses for about 7 years, going on 8, and within those years, I've seen some recurring themes that I would like to see an end to, or at least see a lot less of, in order to improve the overall experience for both patrons and actors. One thing I want to note before I get started is that I've only ever worked at no-touch haunts, so the things I'm going to be discussing specifically apply to haunted houses where you are not allowed to touch the actors, and the actors are not allowed to touch you. I can imagine that what I'm going to say would apply to a touch haunt, but I don't know, so keep that in mind as we move forward. I would also like to mention that I have a bit of a cold, so if I sound a little raspy, that's why. Keep moving. I'm not saying that you can't take your time, enjoy the scenery, or see an act in its entirety. This is mostly about those who tend to just stand there and talk to the actors. Most nights are really busy, and if you stand around making comments and jokes, another group will come behind and it will become a huge clusterfuck. You're not going to be able to keep enjoying your time there because there's going to be 2 or 3 groups behind you pushing you out of the way. You'll miss out on everything, and if you want to go through again, you'll have to spend more time and or money standing in line. Keep moving. Okay, Shinazawa, what do I do if I have someone with me who is scared out of their minds and more frozen than a 7-year-old's birthday party? There's a way. The majority of an actor's performance is improv, and a go-to line is, "There's no escape." Yes, there is. Actors are allowed to break character in an emergency, and sometimes that emergency is the person in your group who is way too scared. The primary goal of a haunted house is to have fun, and having a panic attack is no fun at all. So if you want to leave, you can just ask. There's usually a person nearby who will be able to escort you out of one of the emergency exits, and even warn the actors ahead of your path to not do their scare routine. It always kills me inside when I see someone who is too scared to keep going but is forced to continue because they think there's no other way out. Just ask. Children! That same rule especially applies to children. It's hard for a lot of parents to judge whether or not a house is going to be too scary for their kids, and so they often end up taking a chance and traumatizing them. Not only can you easily ask someone to escort you outside of the house, but you could also bring a friend or a family member to watch over your little one as you go through, so you can either take a more educated guess as to what they'll think, or just enjoy the experience without the crying. You don't have to force them through the house, but if you do bring them through, I must warn you, the actors will scare them. For one, we can't always see who is coming around the corner, so even if we wanted to dial it back, it tends to be inevitable. Secondly, even if an actor does make an attempt to go easy on them, a lot of children are still afraid of the scary makeup. Some of you may be thinking that this information is overwhelmingly obvious, but there have been an astonishing amount of parents who have gotten angry and defensive over their children getting scared at a haunted house. So, unfortunately, I have to say that if you don't want your kid to be jump scared, don't take them through. Another mini note is that you shouldn't carry a child through a haunted house. Regardless of how used to jump scares you are, there's always something that could end up making you jump, which is not something you want to do while holding a baby or a toddler. Yes, people take their babies. Don't forget to pick up your jaw. It's next to your foot. Anyway, even if you're confident that nothing will scare you, haunted houses are purposefully disorienting, and it can make it very difficult to walk. There could be stairs, the ground could be uneven, there could be too much fog, there could be a 6-foot-tall man around the corner not expecting you to smash his face against your toddler's forehead. Just little things like that. Not to mention the rowdy teenagers that often run through the house and in turn end up knocking into other people. Don't carry them, please. Reflexes. If you're the type of person who takes the fight response more than the flight response, don't go. Don't go to a haunted house if you're going to fight people. That's not what it's about. The actors are not going to touch you. They're not going to hurt you. There is no reason to put your hands on people. Other than how easy it is for haunted houses to catch fire, you are safe. Safety is one of the top priorities in a haunted house. The actors are trained to keep a safe distance away from you. If it has nothing to do with reflexes and you're just trying to show your friends or your partner that you're a big tough guy who ain't afraid of no ghost, then punching an employee who is just working and had no intention of even poking you is a great way to show them that you are the most pathetic excuse for a living organism that a person should never mistakenly look at, let alone find attractive. You would not believe the amount of people who assault actors who are doing the thing they are paid to watch them do. It's like going to GameStop and being like, I want to buy a game. Oh, well, we have tons of cool games. Don't try to sell me things, you soulless pig. After speaking with a man, he suggested that you should go in with a mindset that you will be scared at some point. That way, if you are scared at some point, you're more prepared to have an appropriate reaction as opposed to being completely knocked out of nowhere, just like, oh man, I wasn't expecting this tonight, I'm going to need to use my fist. If you must go to a haunted house with fight being your main response to getting scared, go in with the mindset that no one is going to hurt you because no one is going to hurt you. Treat it like your friends pranking you. Don't punch people. Treating it like your friends are pranking you. The actors are doing a job. It looks silly that they're cackling at you, but they're doing what they were instructed to do by those who hired them. It is not their job to do a dance for you. Granted, depending on the location, some of them are permitted to dab or give a high five, but for the most part, they are instructed to stay in character, even if they're not scaring anyone. It's an immersive experience and it doesn't make sense for the narrative for a monster to give a fist bump. Yes, I know that's the point, but if an actor is not fulfilling your request for a fist bump or something along those lines, then it's likely that they're not allowed to or not comfortable doing so. So it's best that you stopped after the first 2 attempts. For you, it's one time, but for us, it's a countless amount of times and it gets annoying fast. And not only is it irritating to the actors, but it gets old for the other people in your group. It slows down the process, making things more cramped and or chaotic once other groups get involved. Keep moving. Heckling. People really like the idea that actors aren't going to touch them, not because it gives them a sense of security, but because they get to bully the actors. Personally, I've gotten some racist comments at times, and some people have even been sexually harassed by patrons. We are staying in character because that is our job. We are still human beings, and speaking to us as if we were mannequins or animatronics is incredibly disrespectful and has the potential to get you into a lot of trouble. If you make an actor particularly uncomfortable, you will be reported and you will be asked to leave. You might not even be able to come back. Even if you don't necessarily care about us snowflakes, it's still an easy way to ruin the night for everyone else in your group because you're breaking the illusion and holding things up. Trust me, I've been doing this for 7 years. No one likes it when you stand around and make jokes at the actors. It's not funny. Your friends aren't amused. Keep moving. Screaming! Other than sexual harassment, my biggest pet peeve is patrons trying to scare the actors. Not because it works, but because it doesn't work. If there's anything that makes me not want to haunt anymore, it's people who scream in my face thinking that they're scary. Pop quiz! If you work at a haunted house, what is the sound that you are going to hear most often? Is it A, knock-knock jokes? B, screaming, or C, I hear people screaming all night, it's not working. Another problem with trying to scare the scarer is that it's incredibly unsafe. If I'm forcefully moving my head forward and you're forcefully moving your head in the opposite direction, what do you think has the potential to happen? A lot of people see the jolting backwards motion and go, haha, I scared them. No, you didn't. The actor is trying to stay away from you. They're not supposed to be touching you and you are moving towards them. Yes, they backed up. And then Mr. Smarty Pants goes, but if you're all up in my face, then why can't I get all up in yours? You're poking me with needles, why can't I do that too? I also got an extra note at some point that jump scaring a contortionist is a really bad idea. You know, someone who's kind of bent in a weird way really should not be jumping in fear. If you want to scare people, I have a great idea. I'm not scared. There is nothing wrong with making a funny comment or asking for a high five or taking your little one along. I just want people to understand the importance of respecting the actors and the staff and staying safe. A lot of work goes behind the scenes to put on this show. Even if you're not terrified walking through, there's many other things to appreciate. The sets, the sounds, the smells, the costumes, the makeup, the commitment, the fact that it's only once a year, the fact that it's a different experience every time, the fact that there's a story in everything you see. There are so many reasons to go to a haunted house. Heckling, fighting, and jeopardizing safety aren't any of those reasons.
This Tumblr post detailed the harrowing experiences of actors working at haunted events, injuries resulting in scratches, bruises, and even groping.
I think it was my second night here. I was in the nursery room and someone grabbed one of the bears and hit me in the face with it. They forget that we're like real people and it's our job to scare.
Haunted houses are for having fun, so let's be nice, let's be safe, and let's get spooky. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you've worked at a haunted house, and feel free to add any extra notes I might have overlooked, and please share the video so we can make each other feel safe and entertained. If you're interested in discussing entertainment-related topics, please consider subscribing. If you would like to help me put more time into creating more content, please consider supporting me on Patreon, or you can cash at me for a one-time contribution. Links in the description.
Hello, I'm not trying to bug you, babe, but I just got mugged today. And I need some money to buy candy bars. No, I'm not trying to bug you, babe, but I just got mugged today. And I need some money to buy candy bars.